Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Sabbath class, the 8th of February, 2025. Okay, we're going to be picking up with our discussion from last night with the sons of Josiah and the information surrounding that. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, the Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 videos that you can listen to, look at, examine, get the meat out. Okay, these videos will connect dots for you and lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You'll be greatly appreciated. Okay, we have our cash out for those that want to support the channel, help it move along. Okay, our hours of operation is Tuesday and Wednesday. We're on from 7 to 9 Central Time, and then we have men's night on Friday night, 7 to 9. That's Central Time. Then we have 2 Shabbat classes, one in the morning from 10 to 12 a.m. Then we close out the Shabbat in the evening from 6 to 7. Then we have our Sunday advanced Bible study on every Sunday. It starts at 5. Normally lasts about an hour and a half. So if you want to engage in any of those classes, you're welcome. Okay. For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Shabbat class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, Sabbath prayer, Psalms. We have some current events, need to know information. Then we'll open it up for anybody have any questions or comments, any dialogue. Then we'll go into our topic. Like I said before, we'll be closing out on what we started last night with the sons of Josiah and their connection with the commandment in Daniel 9:25. Okay. So with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, we come before thee on your Shabbat day, thanking you for your mercy and your great power. And we appreciate you, oh Lord, for your patience and your guidance in these last days. And we thank you for awakening us to this great understanding of your word. And for this cause, we honor and respect you greatly. Turn not thy face from us, but allow us in our searching out of you, O Lord, to find you and to dwell with you. Peace be unto you. Okay. I'll read the Psalms right quick. Psalm 36. Okay. Read that. Psalms 37, my bad. It's a true state of the wicked. It says, fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord, do good, and so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass, and he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord. Okay, rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger, forsake wrath, fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be, yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow, to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of an upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bow shall be broken. A little that a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil times, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume with the smoke, shall they consume away. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him that shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not utterly be cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I have been young, and now I am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil and do good, and dwell forevermore. For the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land, and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of his God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous, and seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord, keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. I have been wicked. I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. And yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright. For the end of that man is peace, but the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off, but the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in the time of trouble, and the Lord shall help them, deliver them, and he shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trusted in him. Okay, so that was Psalm 37, state of the wicked. Any comments on that? Okay, we'll go to some current events. I talked about this the other day, how when you understand the system that Esau got in place and what he planning to do, like I said, with him starting out with the immigrants, this big plan to get rid of all the immigrants, but we know for eventually what it's going to come down to is going to be us. They want us out of here, and they already got a plan in place. We see what they're trying to do with Gaza, right? So check this out.
Are the Caribbean nations drowning in debt? With paradise beaches and lush landscapes, the Caribbean may seem like a tropical dream, but beneath the surface lies a harsh reality: soaring public debt that threatens economic stability and impacts the lives of millions. In this video, we dive into the 10 most indebted Caribbean countries in 2025.
A lot of people don't know this, so this is how Esau operates. This is objective. He wants the Caribbean. Like I said, the Bahamas, New Orleans, all that. He wants them to do the same thing to them, but they trying to do to Gaza.
Uncovering the stories behind the numbers, the root causes of these fiscal challenges, like natural disasters, reliance on tourism, and small economies, and their far-reaching consequences. Stay tuned to discover which countries are burdened by debt to GDP ratios over 100%, how they're fighting back, and what the future holds for this vibrant region. If you're curious about how high debt shapes these nations and what it means for their people, you're in the right place. For decades, many Caribbean nations have grappled with unsustainable borrowing levels. And while several nations have made strides towards economic stability, others remain trapped under the weight of soaring debt burdens. Not only will we list the Caribbean countries with the highest debt to GDP, but we will also take a look into why this high debt is so bad and what the future holds for these nations and its people. Let's break it down together. But before we get started, let's look briefly at how we compare debt. Debt between countries is typically measured using a debt to GDP ratio, which compares a nation's total debt to its gross domestic product, GDP. This metric is widely used because it provides a transparent and standardized measure of a country's debt relative to the size of its economy, allowing for comparisons across nations with vastly different economic scales. A high debt to GDP ratio is often viewed as a red flag because it indicates that a country's debt exceeds its economic output, raising concerns about its ability to manage or repay that debt without compromising growth or essential services. Not only that, the high debt can erode investor confidence, increase borrowing costs, and reduce fiscal flexibility, a government's ability to pay for essential services, leaving nations vulnerable to financial crisis or severe blow to its tourism-dependent economy, causing a sharp contraction in GDP and a surge in public borrowing to address health and social needs. In 2020, the debt to GDP ratio peaked at 95%. And even though this value has fallen, concerns still abound about the country's debt sustainability.
Okay, so like I was saying before, when you look at the big picture, it's these Caribbean countries in debt. You got to remember what Esau said. You can have a country and all that, but all I want to do is control his money as well, and I'm good. So that's Esau's approach to the whole world, all countries. And if you look around, you will notice everybody's in a bind, and that's one of the reasons why it's not a coincidence. Esau, in the very near future, wants to rule the world for 1,000 years. In order to do it, he have to bring all these countries down, and he's gonna try to do it by economically collapsing, including America. So, like I say, the most likely world power that's going to emerge is Esau. And a lot of people they have no idea that that's the plan that he got in place. But like I said, he got all these countries. You think they flourishing, but they're all in debt. And they're in debt to one person, one group of people. That's these Edomites that's posing as Israelites. Okay? Any comments on that? Okay, go to the next video. Somebody had something?
Shalom.
Okay.
Brother Leonard.
Something going on with your volume. Go ahead.
Yes. Did you hear about the new vein of gold that they found in China? I mean,
No.
they said I forgot how many metric tons, and this supposedly just happened in the last few days.
Right.
Now,
You
I
saw the
just wanted to
video?
mention that.
Yeah, you got a
Yes,
video?
sir. I hope I could find it again, but they showed a vein of if I find it, I'll send it to you. But I mean, they found a bunch of gold, right, in China,
Uh-huh.
and but anyhow, if I get it, I'll send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
They say, I can't run again. That's the expression. Sure. Then somebody said, I don't think you can. Oh.
Those were comments Donald Trump made at the National Prayer Breakfast, where he once again floated the idea of staying in power beyond what is allowed by the 22nd Amendment. So to say that he has no regard for the Constitution would be an understatement. He also tried to end birthright citizenship via executive order, which is codified in the 14th Amendment. He is considering sending incarcerated U.S. citizens to El Salvadoran prisons in direct violation of the Eighth Amendment. He's sending immigrants to concentration camps as we speak in Gitmo to deprive them of their Fifth Amendment rights, which everybody is entitled to, by the way, regardless of citizenship status. His Attorney General, Pam Bondi, is criminally investigating companies that have DEI initiatives, which is a brazen violation of the First Amendment. And he's reportedly drafting an executive order to abolish or dismantle, we don't know how far it's going to go, the Department of Education, which requires an act of Congress. Now, on top of that, he's letting Elon Musk illegally gain access to our government agencies, which now includes the NIH, the Department of Education, and probably more as I record this. He's also gained access to Medicaid and Medicare computers. He is trying to line item veto payments appropriated by Congress at the US Treasury, and that's obviously illegal. But what's crazy, or not so crazy, depending on what you know about politics, is that Republican senators have willingly ceded that power to Elon Musk despite its illegality. And as this Notice headline put it, Musk's actions may be unconstitutional, but, quote, nobody should bellyache about that, Senator Tom Tillis said. Right. So in other words, this is a constitutional crisis, and nobody's acting like it. But even that doesn't sufficiently describe the danger of this moment. And I think that Jamel Bowie put it best, writing for the New York Times, quote, to describe the current situation in the executive branch as merely a constitutional crisis is to understate the significance of what we're experiencing. Constitutional crisis does not even begin to capture the radicalism of what is unfolding in the federal bureaucracy and of what Congress's decision to not act may liquidate in terms of constitutional meaning.
So the thing is like you just said, what is it that we're experiencing? That's what I want to focus on. Check it out.
Together, Trump and Musk are trying to rewrite the rules of the American system. They are trying to instantiate an anti-constitutional theory of executive power that would make the president supreme over all other branches of government. If Trump, Musk, and their allies succeed, then the question of American politics won't be if they'll win the next election, but whether the Constitution as we know it is still in effect. And that's what we're contending with right now, in this moment. Donald Trump is in the process of fundamentally transforming our entire system of governance and consolidating power so rapidly that there might not actually be any going back when it's all said and done. We're talking about an informal dictatorship or an explicitly illiberal system of governance, if not de facto regime change altogether. And it doesn't take long to dismantle democratic institutions. In a piece published in The Atlantic by historian Timothy Ryback, he describes how Hitler was able to do it in just 53 days. And the parallels between then and now are truly striking. But we're going to...
And that's my point right there. So looking at these people change not. The same thing they did before, they're doing it again. So what they did with Hitler, like the guy just said, the same thing is transpiring right now. Because the same people behind it. And we're looking at the exact same thing he said in 53 days. The Germans looked up and Hitler was a dictator. And they're in the same process now. It's moving at rapid speed. Okay? Any comments on that? Okay, everybody good on that? Got some need to know information right here. Play this and then we'll open up as a Q&A.
Experts have been forecasting for some time that 2025 would be a game-changing year for BRICS, and early indications show that this prediction is already coming to fruition. The economic bloc, which began as a coalition of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has now set its sights on a major expansion, with a host of rapidly growing economies lining up to join. Just 1 month into the year, Russia revealed that 23 countries are in the process of becoming full BRICS members, a move that promises to drastically shift the balance of global power. One of the most significant new members is Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, and one of the world's fastest growing nations. Alongside Indonesia, Nigeria's inclusion into BRICS represents a crucial moment in the bloc's quest for greater global influence. But how did this dramatic shift occur? What benefits will Nigeria gain from joining BRICS? And what does this mean for the global financial system? In this video, we'll explore how BRICS is positioning itself to challenge the dominance of the US dollar, and what these developments mean for the future of international trade, political sovereignty, and the reshaping of global financial systems in 2025. On January 1st, 2025, BRICS entered an unprecedented chapter in its history, marking the official beginning of its expansion phase. already representing a significant portion of the world's population and economic activity, 55% of the global population and around 37% of global GDP. The bloc has made its expansion a key focus for the future. Under the presidency of Brazil this year, BRICS kicked off the expansion by welcoming Indonesia as the first new member of 2025. However, Indonesia wasn't the only major addition. Nigeria, with its rapidly expanding economy and resource-rich landscape, also officially joined, signaling a strategic expansion of BRICS's influence across several key global regions. Nigeria's inclusion into BRICS is particularly noteworthy for several reasons. As the most populous nation in Africa and a leading economic powerhouse, Nigeria's GDP surpasses $500 billion, making it one of the largest economies in the developing world. Beyond its sheer economic size, Nigeria is rich in natural resources, including vast reserves of oil, gas, and minerals, which gives it immense geopolitical and economic leverage. This membership adds tremendous economic weight to BRICS and strengthens the bloc's position within Africa, a region that has historically been sidelined in global economic discussions dominated by the West. By including Nigeria, BRICS is asserting its growing influence over Africa and positioning itself as a key player in shaping global economic policies. This move represents a departure from the traditional Western-dominated financial order and sets the stage for the creation of a more balanced global system. But the inclusion of Nigeria is just one part of BRICS's broader strategy. Another important addition is Indonesia, a key player in Southeast Asia and a nation that sits at the crossroads of important global trade routes. Indonesia's entry into BRICS is strategically significant for the bloc, as the country has long been a central figure in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, one of the most influential regional organizations in the world. Indonesia's membership strengthens BRICS's position in Southeast Asia, expanding the bloc's global reach and its influence over critical trade routes. Moreover, Indonesia's growing economy, boasting a GDP of over $1 trillion and a population nearing 280 million, adds significant economic heft to BRICS. Indonesia's vast natural resources, including energy, minerals, and agricultural products, position it as a key player in global supply chains, further enhancing BRICS's capacity to influence international markets. Indonesia's shift in foreign policy, from reliance on traditional Western powers to embracing a stronger partnership with emerging economies, is an alternative vision, one rooted in mutual respect, cooperation, and the sovereignty of its members. By moving away from the US dollar, BRICS is promoting a more equitable and inclusive global order, one where the economic power is more evenly distributed and no single country or bloc can dominate the international system. One of the key reasons BRICS is gaining traction among emerging economies is its focus on reducing their reliance on Western-backed financial institutions, which often come with political strings attached. For example, the IMF and World Bank are frequently criticized for imposing austerity measures and structural reforms on countries in exchange for financial assistance, measures that often exacerbate poverty and inequality. BRICS's new development bank, on the other hand, offers financing without the political conditions imposed by Western institutions, making it an attractive alternative for countries seeking more equitable financial partnerships. But
Okay, any comments on that?
Shalom, brother Leonard. I'm kind of jumping backwards. Should we be really concerned about?
Shalom, everyone. If you
I'm
take a
sorry.
look at the map and how it breaks down.
Hold up.
Okay.
Hold up a minute. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, sorry.
Yes, sir. I apologize. The only thing I was saying, should we be concerned about this Musk guy having access to all our personal information?
Yeah. Yeah, he got access to, a billionaire, the richest man in the world, and he got access to all our financial dealings. I think that's
Yes, sir.
crazy.
Yes, sir. Social security number, birth, everything. And so I don't know. I'm quite sure it's possible he could go in there and wipe out an account and the money just disappear and nobody have no idea where it went.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the things that he's proclaiming right now. He's saying that he done found over 1 million imposters saying that they get Social Security, but they're not eligible for it, or either they people getting checks and the person dead. He said that he done found over 1 million cases like that. So that means he got all access if he finding that type of information out. Okay. Somebody else had something?
Shalom. I was just speaking on the last one about bricks, and if you just
Okay.
take and look at the map, how it shows the ones who are all engaged in bricks, it's closing in where South America is about to be bricks all the way, and it's just all around. It's just closing in more and more. It's going in, and you can notice that North America, the United States, is looks like a little pin. Once they start continue to join bricks, then the United States is going to be isolated. It's not um, all these people that's joining. It's just it's going to bring that dollar down faster because I thought it would not, but it is.
Exactly. That's what this urgency is. This 2025 project 2025 and what they're doing with the Trump and all that. That's why it's so urgent, because they looking at the map like you is, and they see where it's headed, and so they trying to cut it off. That's what all this you see going on, all these executive orders and all that is they last ditch effort to try to curb what's going on. You know, and I was listening to a video earlier this morning where the guy was talking about prophecy, how that you can't, you can't fight against it like a man's destiny or a nation's destiny or the world's destiny. You can't fight against it. You can flip and do everything you want to do, jump off a building, but it's still gonna unfold the way the Creator said it was. So that's what we're looking at. They're trying to cut it off, but they can't. Okay, anybody else have anything? Okay, we'll open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions, comments, or anything about last night, or anything that we dealt with during the week, or something that you came across? You want to bring it to the table? Everybody good?
I'm good. I have nothing at the time.
So I played this last night. I'm gonna play it again today because we got everybody here. This is what I thought it was eye-opening. Let me play it. Some of this stuff you gotta disregard. This guy he's a Christian.
All right, Dow is hitting session lows, folks. We are now down 181 points.
Okay.
Where they plan to have the temple actually built by. And this is pretty intriguing because it's this year. So let's take a look at a few of these videos, and bear with me because there's a lot to go through today, but it's very, very important information. And it gives us an idea of the times that we are living in, okay? Whether you believe that this is prophecy unfolding or it's just gonna fall through, let me know in the comment section below. But either way, I think it's very important that we do at least stay aware of what is taking place in the world. Let's take a look.
That very soon we will all see the building of the third temple in Jerusalem.
The table of showbread is ready. The menorah is ready. All of the golden pieces are ready. The third temple is ready.
Our job to bring and to build the third temple.
They're also planning to slaughter 5 red cows. That paves the way for the building of the third temple, replacing the Dome of the Rock.
Now, it's very important that we understand what is being said here. What is being said is that they would destroy the Dome of the Rock. They would destroy that mosque in order to build the third temple. Now, when is that going to happen? Well, if they're saying, which we're going to get to, that they're going to have this temple built this year, there's going to be an event apparently where this mosque is destroyed. So there's going to be some big events taking place. Also, one thing that I find pretty embarrassing that needs to stop immediately is Christians trying to help build the third temple, okay? Christians, you should have nothing to do with building the third temple, just so you know. But let's keep going with this video.
Jews have announced many times that they would build the third temple on the Temple Mount. But this year, they're dead serious about it.
Oh, and if you want to know why you should have nothing to do with building the third temple, let's take a look at 2 Thessalonians.
Okay, so yeah, so we see right here where these people at, how close they are to what their plans are. So if they say they're gonna build a temple in this 2025, and their objective is to rule the world from Jerusalem. So when they build a temple, they must have some kind of plan in place so they're gonna be able to control the whole world. So you gotta let that permeate. And then you gotta look at all the drama that's going on around the world. They orchestrating it. Okay. Any comments? Questions?
Shalom. Shalom. The Christians
Okay.
are going off of John 2, 19, verse 19 and 21. They're going off of that when it says that JC told them about destroying the temple
Right.
in the third day. So they're trying to make that prophecy come about. But in Daniel 9:23, 9, chapter 9, verses 24 through 27, does not say it like that. So they're trying to twist things around to make it happen. And everyone that is a Christian is believing in it. And they want, just like the man said, they want to build it, but they don't know that building, touching it, they're not the Israelites, so they cannot do it. But they're going to do it anyway. And by them announcing it like they're doing now, they're getting those Christians believing in it so much that they're willing to sacrifice their checks. They're sending money so these things can happen. They're getting broke off of trying to make this thing happen.
Okay, yeah. So what you're looking at, when you understand what these people done with the New Testament, you say they predicated it off of what John said. Well, we go to Jesus himself. Why did he say 3 days and 3 nights? Because they going back to the Old Testament. They can't operate unless they go. It's all a forgery. So in order to make anything work, they got to go back to the Old Testament. Like I said, every prophet, if you notice, he have a sign. So when they asked JC what his sign, what was the sign of the Son of Man, and he said the sign of the Son of Man is 3 days and 3 nights. He'll be in the belly of the earth. The same way his sign was the sign of Jonah. Jonah was in the well 3 days and 3 nights. So everything they come up with, they got to go back to the Old Testament and use it. So, for example, another one is he came with 14 miracles. And so where you get 14 from? Elijah and Elisha, both of them had 7 miracles. So here comes JC, and he doubled it. He does, and all the miracles he done are the same miracles Elijah and Elisha done. Once you start putting all this together and connecting these dots, it's a joke. Just like I read last night when with Manasseh, JC said the father, he came in the father's name, the father sent him. Okay, well the father in the Second Chronicles punished Manasseh for shedding innocent blood in Jerusalem. And now he come and these Edomites built him up and saying that he was born of a virgin and he wasn't born with no sin. Well, Solomon tells us that a man born of a woman to come through the matrix of a woman, he's born into sin. But JC don't have no sin on him. He's innocent. He has innocent blood. But the same God that judged Manasseh for shedding innocent blood in Jerusalem put him on the cross. Innocent blood. Let that ferment. Okay? So it's a joke. My point. It's all a joke. So and this is where the drama coming in there because everybody predicated off of what these people that copied and paste and put in the New Testament, and they riding off of that. They destiny, their soul destiny, and all that riding off of all these lies, propaganda. But it's like I said, it's coming to a head anyway. So if you depend on the Lord of hosts and sit back, you're gonna see it's gonna all unfold. A lot of people are gonna be in a pickle. Okay. Anybody else got any comments or questions about anything? You know, something they want to shine light on. Okay, yeah. So last night we talked about Josiah. And if you don't know the story of Josiah, the creator God, just do a little backtracking. Lord of hosts got a covenant with David, right? And he told David that he was going to pass when he got to live his life and died. He was going to make sure that he watch over David's throne, because the throne is David. It ain't for nobody else. It's David's throne, right? And so he's going to watch over and always keep a seed out of his lineage. He's going to follow David, watch over David's lineage. He's going to keep a man out of David's lineage on the throne. And if that man is not out of David's lineage, is on the throne in Jerusalem, it's a breach. It's a serious hole. And when you go back to Isaiah 53, that's what he's talking about. When he says, I put a wound in thee. I wounded thee with a grievous wound. That's what he's talking about. A man, the grievous wound is a man on the throne, and he can even be out of David's lineage, but a man on the throne that is wicked. It's a grievous wound, because that's the reason why he has to bring David back, because David kept the Most High's laws, statutes, and judgment, the ones that the Lord of hosts gave to Moses. David kept those, and Solomon kept them in his earlier years, but he got corrupted by those foreign women that he dealt with. But David kept the Most High's laws, statutes, and judgment. That's why David coming back to reinstitute all that. Lord going to use David to do that. David the Messiah. But anyway, so he makes he promised David that he was gonna watch over his seed line, right, over his sons, and another part to that that people don't understand is he says he's gonna raise up a man like unto David every so often on his throne. And I'll give you a prime example of that. A righteous king. That's why the scriptures, when we read the scriptures in his First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, First and Second Kings, it always says, he tells you what that particular king is doing on the throne, whether he's wicked or whether he's righteous. So if we go to Isaiah right quick, okay, and you'll see that this is a prime example of a covenant that's created God with David. This let me get it. Chapter 1 of Isaiah. So it says, the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem, in the days of, you go to all these men out of David lineage, Uzi, Jocham, Ahaz, Hezekiah, kings of Judah. So when you understand the covenant that's created God, the Lord of hosts had with David, you see it right here in this one verse. So you got 4 kings, Uzi, Jocham, and Ahaz, all 3 of them wicked. When you go read their story in First and Second Chronicles, and First Kings, Second Kings, you're gonna see that you're gonna see that okay. You're gonna see that can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
sir.
Okay, so you're
Yes,
gonna
sir.
see that the camera went off. I don't know what's up. But so you're gonna see that that Uzi, Jocham, and Ahaz is wicked, and then Hezekiah righteous. So that's the hand of the Lord right there in everybody right there while you reading. So he promised David, it's gonna be some wicked kings that are gonna come on David's throne, but he's gonna always raise up one, the DNA. We're going to raise up one like him unto David. So you got 3 wicked kings, then Hezekiah. So the reason I'm showing you this is you got all through the history of Israel, you got so-called reformers that was raised up like Jehoshaphat. Then you had the last one, which was Josiah. That's the reason I was bringing that up last night. So Josiah was the last righteous king before the Babylonians came. When the Babylonians came, after Josiah died, that's why he was burnt out on Israel as a nation. And so when Gabriel came to Daniel and told him the Most High is through with Israel as a nation, he's going to cut the nation of Israel off. He tired of fumbling with him. So when Josiah passed away, you got to follow those lineages of those boys, those sons, those so-called men that came on the throne after Josiah. And one of the points I want to make, I want to show you right quick, which is tied to what they did in order to bring JC in when they plugged him into Daniel 9:25. That Messiah they saying in Daniel 9:25 is not him. It goes back to Josiah, his lineage, right? So you go to 2 Kings 25. I want to show you something right quick. 2 Kings 25, right? And you will see that verse 22. So Josiah had 4 sons, right? Let me look at it right quick. Give my notes. So he had he had 4 sons. He had Jehoiada, Jehoiakim, Manus, and Shulem. Those are 4 sons. So we're going to see right here that the King Nebuchadnezzar came and made changed one of his sons, Matthias. He changed his name to Zedekiah. That's who Zedekiah is, and then this is one of the reasons why Zedekiah is so wicked. He's wicked as hell. So, but this is one of the reasons I want to show you he's not in that lineage that the Creator chose. Because you got people, the nation of Israel choosing kings that the Creator didn't choose. He would allow that, but the one that the Creator chose is you follow the lineage of David. The Creator chose to follow the lineage of David. So I'm in 25, and I'm gonna show you how that it says. Starting at verse 18, 2 Kings 20. Let me see. Yeah, let me get it. Give me a minute. I'm thinking I'm right in the right place. It says 24, and let me start. I'm just gonna start reading it from verse 1 to bring my point out. It says, and it came to pass. I'm in 2 Kings 25, and it says it came to pass in the 9th year in his reign, in the 10th month, of the month that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came, he and all his hosts against Jerusalem, and they pitched against it, and they built forts against it around about. And the city was besieged until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. And on the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people of the land. And the city was broken up, and all the men of war led by the night gate between the 2 walls, which is by the king's garden. Now the Chaldeans were against the city round about, and the king went the way toward the plains, and the army of the Chaldeans pursued after the king and overtook him in the plains of Jericho, and all his army was scattered from him. So they took the king, the Zedekiah, and brought him up to the king of Babylon in Riblah, and they gave him judgment upon him. and they slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with feathers of brass, and carried him to Babylon. So like I said last night, what you're looking at right here, the Most High, the Lord of hosts, is promised David that he's gonna always have a king out of his lineage, and in particular a righteous king. So we see that Nebuchadnezzar chose this man Zedekiah. His name was Matthias. Here it is up here. 24 and 17 says the king of Babylon, go up to 15. And he carried away Jehoiakim to Babylon, and the king's mother, and the king's wives, and his officers, and many in the land, those carried he into captivity from Jerusalem to Babylon. And in all the men of might, even 7,000 craftsmen and smiths, and 1,000, all that were strong and apt for war, even they, the king of Babylon, brought to the king of Babylon brought captive to Babylon. Now here you go, 17. And the king of Babylon made Matthias. See that? So he went from Jehoiakim, which was king. He came and took Jehoiakim to Babylon, and then made Jehoiakim's son, right, the king. Then he came back the second time, and he took Jehoiakim, and then he made Jehoiakim's brother, Josiah's third son, the king. So he all over the place. So these men ain't got nothing to do, creator not choosing him. So he takes Matthias, his father, Jehoiakim's brother, Jehoiakim's daddy, brother, king in his stead, and changed his name to Zedekiah. So this is why Zedekiah wicked as hell. He ain't got nothing to do with the creator. Creator didn't choose him. So anyway, because of that, we see right here in verse 7 and verse 6 of chapter 25, when he came back the third time and the last time. So when they took the king, Zedekiah, brought him up to the king of Babylon in Riblah, and they gave judgment on him. So it's the Lord of hosts at work. 7, and they slew the sons of Zedekiah. See that? He cutting off Zedekiah's lineage, because Zedekiah ain't got nothing to do with David, sitting on David's throne. So he had Zedekiah eyes put out, eventually killed, but he killed all Zedekiah's sons. And then at the same time, the lineage that he following in 2 Kings 24 and verse 8, which is Jehoiakim, we see right here in verse 14, 24, 2 Kings 24 and 14, and he carried away all Jerusalem and all the princes and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths, none remain. Say the poor, the source of the. Now here you go right here. It's the Lord right here, protecting David's lineage. 15, and he carried away Jehoiakim, right? It's out of David's lineage, to Babylon, and the king's mother, and the king's wives, and his officers, and the mighty men. So he making sure that David lineage gonna continue on through this boy right here. It's the most high word. But if you don't understand what the covenants and all that he got, you won't see none of that. But this is my point, where the manipulation coming in at. It tells us right here in verse 17 that the king of Babylon made Matthias, right? Jehoiakim, father's brother, king in his stead. But when you go to 2 Chronicles, right? I hope y'all keeping up. 2 Chronicles, chapter 36. Let me see if I'm in the right place. Yeah, chapter 36 of 2 Chronicles. And so these are not mistakes. This is done intentionally. So you go to 36 and 10, then it says, and when the year was expired, another thing you have to understand, what's going on in 1st and 2nd Kings ain't nothing but a retelling in 1st and 2nd Chronicles. So when whatever you see happen in 1st Kings, you can go to 1st Chronicles and you'll find the same thing, but it might have a little more information in it. So I'm in 2 Chronicles 36, verse 10. It says, and when the year was expired, King Nebuchadnezzar sent and brought him to Babylon with the goodly vessels of the house of the Lord, and made Zedekiah his brother. Now they telling you that Zedekiah is Jehoiakim's brother, when our actuality, Zedekiah is Jehoiakim's uncle. Zedekiah is out of Josiah's lineage, and Jehoiakim is the son of Zedekiah's brother, Jehoiakim. But like I said before, you would think this is complicated, but it's not complicated because of all this was done to hoodwink and manipulate Daniel 9:25, because they want you to think that JC is that Messiah in Daniel 9:25. Then now here go the point I want to explain right here. I'm in Daniel 9:25. I'll read that like quick, show you something. So if you go to Daniel, right, and you'll see that it says in 9:25, it says, this is where they plugged JC at. This is where they brought him on the scene. It says, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem until the Messiah, they're saying that this right here is JC, until the Messiah, the prince, shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks, the street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublesome times. So I told you about this wall. The wall where I just read, when Nebuchadnezzar came, burned down all the houses in Jerusalem, and they tore down the wall. Daniel was in that group that went back to Babylon. So when Gabriel came to Daniel, he telling them they going back, according to Jeremiah, and they're going to rebuild this wall that the Chaldeans tore down. So the wall, the Messiah, and all of them is tied together. It's not talking about JC. And then the return, the commandment, the wall, and the Messiah is all right here. You just got to figure out who it is, who this Messiah is. So we know what the wall is. That's the wall that David built around Jerusalem, that the Chaldeans tore down. So he told them, you're going back and you're going to rebuild that wall. But before you do it, a commandment going to come forward. A commandment going to come forward. You're going to know when it's time for y'all to go back after 70 years, because a commandment going to go forward from the king that I choose. He's going to come and tell y'all that you can go back to Jerusalem and rebuild the wall and rebuild the temple, right? So this Messiah that's got to be out of David lineage, he's got to come forth and take them back, not JC, right? So the Messiah is in Babylon with Daniel and them, with the prophets. So he got to be identified. So now let's look at it right quick. My point right now is to put emphasis on this commandment, which kills that story about JC. So when you go to commandment and decree, is the same thing. So when you go to Ezra, which everybody should know this, I'm always going to Ezra, right? Chapter 1, this is the commandment. This had nothing to do with the New Testament. Now, the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. So just the prophecy. All Israelites and Levites and all them understood this. They waiting on this commandment for them to go back. The commandment that Gabriel told Daniel in Daniel 9:25. So here you go, right here. In the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia. Now here you go. He stirred up Cyrus, and Cyrus made this proclamation, this commandment right here that they're waiting on, that he made a proclamation throughout all the kingdom and put it in writing. So he didn't just speak it, he put it in writing. Thus saith the Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven, giving me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea. So right there, that's the prophecy. That's their cue. Now, 3, who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him. Let him go up to Jerusalem This fulfilling Daniel 9:25. Let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judea, and build the house of the God of Israel. He is the God who is in Jerusalem. Then 4. Whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver and with gold, and with goods and with beasts, and besides the free will offering for the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. So my point is this. I want to inject this in there. This is the same thing it's going to happen right here. This is the same thing going to happen right now. What we waiting on? Okay? Let me read it again, verse 4. Whosoever remaineth in any place, that's what we are now. We scattered everywhere. Same thing getting ready to happen. Whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourned, let the men of that place help him. So you worrying about what you gonna have what you need? No, he says let them help him with silver, with gold, with goods, with beasts, besides the free will offering for the house of God which is in Jerusalem. I don't see nothing in there about cryptocurrency. Okay, so anyway, so we see the same thing happening. It's getting ready to happen again. But this is my point. That's just one of the prophecies fulfilling the commandment that was in Daniel 9:25. I want to read Ezra chapter 6, the whole chapter. Right? This way, go get crazy at. So I'm in Ezra chapter 6. And Darius is the son of Cyrus. Cyrus made the proclamation that fulfilled Daniel 9:25. So here we go. Then Darius the king made a decree. It's a commandment. Same thing. They just synonyms. Then Darius the king made a decree, and search was made in the house of the rolls where the treasures were laid up in Babylon. What treasures? Nebuchadnezzar took Nebuchadnezzar took all of the stuff and all the furniture, all the gold out of the temple and took it to Jerusalem. They got all of it piled up in the king's treasury in Babylon. So he says 8, verse 2, and there was found at Archimedia in the palace that is in the province of the Medes a roll, and therein was recorded, thus written, in the first year of Cyrus, the king, the same Cyrus the king made a decree, a commandment concerning the house of God at Jerusalem, the temple. Let the house be builded. It's Daniel 9:25. The place where they offered sacrifices, let the foundation thereof be strongly laid, the height thereof 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 80 cubits, with 3 rows of great stones and a row of new timber, and let the expense be given out of the king's house. And also let the golden, silver vessels, check it out, this is all the stuff I told you they took. And also let all the gold and silver vessels of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took forth out of the temple, which is in Jerusalem, and brought unto Babylon, be restored, and brought again unto the temple, which is in Jerusalem, everyone on his place, and place them in the house of God. So right here, if you see, you can't see that JC ain't in this. This is probably the biggest lie I've been told. That's him in Daniel 9:25. Now, verse 6. Now, therefore, Tanas, governor beyond the river, I can't pronounce his name. Shethar and your companion and Arphaxites, which are beyond the river, be ye far from thence. Now, here you go. This is Darius. Let the work of the house of God alone. He's telling all these men, don't bother these Jews. They sent the decree. Now I'm sending a decree for them to go back and rebuild Jerusalem. Say, let the work of this house of God alone, and let the governors of the Jews and the elders of the Jews build this house of God in its place. Moreover, I make a decree. This is a commandment. The Lord of hosts. This is a double whammy. Moreover, I make a decree what ye shall do to the elders of these Jews for the building of this house of God, that of the king's goods, even the tribute beyond the river forthwith expense be given unto these men, that they be not hindered. Same thing getting ready to happen. And that which they have need of, both young bullocks, rams, lambs, for burnt offerings of the God of heaven, wheat, salt, wine, oil, according to the appointment of the priests which are at Jerusalem. Let it be given them day by day without fail, that they may offer sacrifices of sweet savor unto God of heaven, and pray for the life of the king and of his sons. Also I have made a decree that whosoever shall alter this word, let timber be pulled down from his house, and being set up, let him be hanged thereon, and let his house be made a dunghill for this. And the God that has caused his name to dwell there, see that? So I don't know how you're gonna get JC out of this. And the God that have caused his name to dwell there, destroy all kings and people that shall put their hand to alter and to destroy this house of God which is in Jerusalem. I, Darius, have made this commandment, and let it be done with speed. Then Tantus, governor on this side of the river, and Shabanus and their companions, according to that which Darius the king had sent, so they did speedily. And the elders of the Jews builded, and they prospered through prophesying. Check it out. And the elders of the Jews builded, and they prospered through the prophesying of Haggai. See that? And the prophet Zechariah, the son of Iddo. So Haggai, that's in the Bible, the book of Haggai, he's the author of the book of Haggai, and Zechariah, he's the author of Zechariah. They was there prophesying while they building the temple. So you can't go to Zechariah nowhere and JC in the story. He ain't in the story. You can't go to Haggai. JC ain't in the Haggai. Okay? Then it says, the God of Israel, and according to the commandments of Cyrus, here you go. This is the hand of the Lord. And according to the commandment, this is the commandment in Daniel 9:25. Like I said, 3 men he used to bring forth that commandment. He says, and according to the commandments of Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes, kings of Persia. So for those that don't know, Artaxerxes is the one that married Esther. Let that permeate. Anyway, so it says, and thus the house was finished on the 3rd day of the month, Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of Darius the king. And the children of Israel, the priests, the Levites, and the rest of the children of the captivity kept the dedication of this house of God with joy, and offered at the dedication of this house of God 100 bullocks, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and for a sin offering for all Israel, 12 he-goats, according to the number of the tribes of Israel. And they set the priests in their divisions and the Levites in their courses for the service of God, which is in Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses. And the children of the captivity kept the Passover upon the 14th day of the 1st month. For the priests and the Levites were purified together, all them that were pure, and they killed the Passover for all the children of the captivity, and for their brethren, the priests, and for themselves. And the children of Israel, which will come again out of the captivity, and all such as separated themselves unto them from the filthiness. Check it out. Separated themselves from the filthiness of the heathen of the land, to seek God, the Lord God of Israel, did eat. And they kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with joy, for the Lord had made them joyful, and turned the hearts of the king of Syria. See that? Now, turn the heart of the king of Assyria unto them. So what the king of Assyria got to do with this? 10 tribes. Ain't no 10 tribes lost. So the king of Assyria released the 10 tribes. See that? And he turned the heart of the king of Assyria. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Nebuchadnezzar came and got them. Like I said, he just told you all Israel. Cyrus got control of 172 provinces. The 10 tribes is in Assyria. The three tribes is in Shushan in Babylon. So when he made the commandment, all three of these kings, they released all the Israelites. That's another lie from these Edomites. You got Negroes going around in circles with these lost 10 tribes. So I'll read it again. Last verse of chapter 7 says, chapter 6, and he kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with joy. So this is the end of the captivity. For the Lord had made them joyful, turned the heart of the king of Assyria unto them, to strengthen their hand in the work of the house of God, the God of Israel. So now, anybody got comments so far? So let's look at this. Notice what happened right in verse 21. It says, they've been in Israel, they was taken to Babylon, a bunch of the Israelites from their homeland, a holy land. Now they over in Babylon, and it's filthy. They ain't keeping it, they're not able to cleanse themselves, they're not able to make no sacrifices, so they over there in a land where filthiness is at. So let's look at it. They coming out of Babylon after the 70 years, and it says, start at verse 20. The priests and the Levites were purified, so they got to be purified because they've been over there in filth. Same way in Egypt. It says, for the priests and the Levites were purified together, all of them were pure. And they killed the Passover lamb. This is what the Passover lamb for. Not no man. In order for the Israelites to be cleansed, it's got to be these clean animals. Not no man. So he says, the children of Israel, which will come, go back up, for the 20. For the priests and the Levites were purified together. All of them were pure. So here you go. And they killed the Passover lamb for the children of the captivity, because they've been in filthiness for 70 years. And for the burden of the priests, and for themselves. And the children of Israel, which will come up, see that? Which will come up out of the captivity, and all such as separate themselves separated unto them from the filthiness of the heathens of the land, to seek the Lord God of Israel. So my point is this: we've been over here over 2,500 years. How much more filthy you think we is? And the point, to drive the point home, it ain't got nothing to do with no man dying. You way off on Prim Road if you're dealing with that. So we have been over here 2,500 years. We got to be purified. We see how they were purified right here. The Cyrus told them, let me read it. He says, verse 11, Ezra chapter 6, and I have made a decree that whosoever shall alter this word and let timber be pulled down from their house and being set up, let him be hanged thereon, and let his house be made a dunghill. And the God that I've called the name to dwell there, destroy the kings. Let me find that. So yeah, here you go. Verse 8, he said, moreover, I make a decree, ye shall do to the elders of these Jews and to the building of their house, that the king's goods, even the tribute beyond the river, forthwith expenses be given unto these men, that they be not hindered, and that which they have need of. See it go. And that which they have need of. What they have need of. Both young bullocks, rams, lambs, and burnt offerings for the God of heaven, wheat and salt, wine, oil, according to the appointment of the priests which are in Jerusalem, and let it be given them day by day. So why this? This how they got to cleanse themselves. Not no man down on the cross. This how they got to be. They need the rams, the lambs, same thing their forefathers did. Enoch and all of them, and Noah. They need rams, lambs, goats, and all that to purify themselves. So we've been over here 2,500 years. We need lambs, rams, and goats to be purified, not JC. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, let's go. I'm always going here all the time. Isaiah chapter 60. Remember, you got a whole New Testament over there about this guy that died on the cross for all our sins, right? Let's look at it. This is the God of Israel, the one from the Old Testament. So here we go. This is the future glory of Zion. We over here. We've been over here 2,500 years. We filthy. We caught up in the filthiness of the land. We doing everything under the sun. So he tells us right here, the God of Israel, arise and shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, darkness shall cover the whole earth. That's where we at. Gross darkness to people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee. Same way he did in Babylon, with Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes. And his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, the kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thy eyes round about and see. So keep in mind, we've been over here 2,500 years. We caught up in the filthiness of the land. We need those same animals and the salt and all that our forefathers needed when they came out of Babylon. Keep that in mind. Lift up thine eyes round about and see. All they together, or they gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy son shall come from afar, and thy daughter shall be nursed upon thy side. Now then thou shalt see and flow together, and thy heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea, see that? This is what we need. The abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles, the same thing he did over there. Darius, Cyrus, and Artaxerxes, Gentiles. Forces of the Gentiles was converted to our forefathers, right? Say the forces of the Gentiles to be converted unto thee. The Gentiles shall come unto thee. Now here you go. Verse 6. The multitude of camels shall cover thee, the drummer of Midian of Ephah, and they from Sheba shall come, and they shall bring gold, incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. 7. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebat shall minister unto thee. They shall come up upon thy scepters on thy altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. What JC had in there. Our forefathers needed lambs, rams, and goats to be purified. We need rams, and goats right here to be purified. So where the sun at? Where the sun at in that? That's a lie from the pits of hell. Okay? So, with that being said, anybody got any comments or questions? Everybody good?
Shalom. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have a question, and it's just an eye opener, I believe, to
Oh,
the listeners. Um, when they did when they called baptism, as far as the Christian way of purifying or coming into knowing, being part of the Lord, believing in Him, that's not a, a true thing to be baptized, or is it?
no. The Egyptians, when you understand where you get the New Testament from, the New Testament, the Greeks and Esau, especially the Greeks, they were pros at synchronization. So when Alexander went on his quest to conquer the world, everywhere they went, they synchronized that nation's religion with theirs. So when they got to Jerusalem, they got a hold of our books. They synchronized their religion with ours. And then not only that, we know that I can't think his name. One of Alexander's generals ended up conquering Egypt. Ptolemy. He conquered Egypt. So that's when they got hold to the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So they took the Egyptian Book of the Dead and our Tanakh. That's how you get JC. Taurus was, or they was the Egyptian pharaohs was being baptized in the Nile River. They worshiped the Nile River. You don't see no well where we getting baptized, but when they got to Egypt, that's where the pharaohs got baptized in the water. Pharaohs worshipped. That's why when the Lord of hosts went there, our God, the deliverer over Israel, he turned the Nile River to blood, because they worshiped the Nile River when he the one controlled the Nile River. He showed them who controlled the Nile River. He turned it into blood. So all that's coming from them mixing the Egyptian Book of the Dead with Tanakh. That's how you get to Christianity and New Testament, and with a lot of the other previous religions that they came across, like Buddhism, the way. When they talk about a man going by a street called straight and all that, that's out of Buddhism. They got 10 paths. That's why JC got on the toga, because they're all this from Buddhism.
Shalom. So,
Yeah.
being that when you come into the truth and knowing what is what, and doing away with the New Testament, now that we are coming into the truth of who we really are as Israelites, as we've been baptized, what does that do to us as ones who
It's
have
nothing.
nothing?
It's just the
Okay.
water on the back. Just like water on a duck back. It ain't, it's about when he says turn to him. Because he's gonna bring the truth to you, is whether you're gonna deal with it or not. So when the truth comes, you get the truth and you turn back to him. All that's nothing. That's like I said, it's water on a duck back. It don't mean nothing. It didn't mean nothing at the beginning. It's just that we ended up over here in America, and first 18 years of your life, you were programmed. That's why those things mean something, because it was sown in you from the time you was born till you got 18 years old, till you became an adult. It don't mean nothing, but it's only important because, like I said, it was sown in you. But the Creator, if you were Israelite and you from the seed of Jacob, the truth gonna come across. He gonna bring the truth across your path. It's whether you deal with it or not. That's where the DNA come in at.
Shalom. Thank
Right.
you. It's just trying to help others
Oh yeah,
visualize
yeah,
and
yeah.
connect the
It's all
dots.
good. It's all
Yes,
good.
sir. As I know, I have others that ask questions, and so I present the question. You tell it better than I do, so
Okay,
thank
yeah,
you.
it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, so yeah, I mean it may be a hard hit or a hard reality, but it's right here in the scriptures. You get with the right people, and it'll be broken down, because we at that point. It's that time, just like we just saw what the Lord of hosts done with Darius and Cyrus and Artaxerxes. He's doing the same thing now. He did the same thing in Egypt. He don't change. So we in the process of coming out from under captivity, and we got to go back to our way of life. And JC ain't got nothing to do with it. We had a redeemer from the beginning. In Genesis 1 and 2, we had Yahweh in the heavens, and the Lord of hosts was moving upon the waters in the very first two verses of the Old Testament. And the Lord of hosts is our redeemer. Let's look at that right quick. Michael. Okay, we ain't gonna fumble with it. Michael. So let's look at it. We're gonna go and look at when they got delivered or when they got saved, when they came out of Egypt. But this is just one example. So you go to Exodus right quick. Okay, and then let me get it. Okay. Yeah, I gotta invest in another Bible. This one right here, toe up and the flow up. Okay. Yeah, so here we go. This is the pillar of cloud, right? Remember I told you in the very beginning, verses 1 and 2 in Genesis chapter 1, you got Yahweh in the cloud, Yahweh in the heavens, and the Lord of hosts on the water. Two beings. So when they get ready to leave Egypt, Exodus 13 and 17, it came to pass when the Pharaoh had let the people go that God led them. God led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near, that God said, let peradventure the people repent when they see war and they return to Egypt. But God led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea. And the children of Israel went up honest out of the land of Egypt. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, and he had straightly sworn unto the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and he shall carry you up my bones away hence with you. And they took their journey from Sukkot and encamped in Etham in the edge of the wilderness. Now here you go. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud. It's Yahweh. And led them the way by night in a pillar of fire and gave them light to go by at night. So they go both of them right there. He took not away the pillar of cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night, from before them. So now let's go to when Pharaoh's army came. So it says, let me see. Okay, I'm in verses Exodus 14 and 21. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by the strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land. See that? There ain't no baptism, dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground. See that? You can't get baptism out of that. And the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went after them. Here you go. The Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even the Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. 24. And it came to pass. So it's right in your face. It came to pass that in the morning watch, the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of the fire and the cloud, and he troubled the host of the Egyptians. Now here you go. And he took off the chariot. This is Yahweh. He took off the chariot or wheels that drove them heavily, so that the Egyptians said, let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians. Now here you go. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thy hand over the sea, and the waters may come again unto the Egyptians upon their chariots and upon their horsemen. And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its strength. And then the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the hosts of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them, and there remained not so much as one of them. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Thus the Lord saved, see that? Lord of hosts, saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. So whoever this is that saved them, this is your savior right here. You can't come up with somebody else. And the same thing when you go to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. Said Nebuchadnezzar looked and he saw another figure in there with him. Son of God, an angel, came in there, saved Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And Sarah, David and Sarah. Well, the Pharaoh took Sarah, and the angel of the Lord went and saved Sarah, made him take Sarah back. to Abraham. Abraham was in the fiery furnace in the book of Jasher, and the angel of the Lord came in the furnace and saved Abraham. So you got any kind of proper English, you got savior. Say if you save somebody, deliver them, then you the savior. You got an angelic being saving Israel all through the Old Testament. Then all of a sudden you get to the New Testament and it's a white man, because that's where JC came from. When Ptolemy went to Egypt, he got the Egyptians to make him into a god. He was a white man, so they made Serapis. Then Serapis showed up at the Council of Nicaea, and Constantine turned him into JC. So I'm not saying a white man just to be saying it. That's what happened. That's how you get the figure JC. They stuck him in our scriptures. Okay. Any comments, questions? So that's just one example. We can sit there all day over dinner, and I can show you all these different situations where the angel of the Lord is the angel of the Lord. David even telling you in the Psalms, cover me with your wings. So David ain't retarded. Either Yahweh got wings or he don't. Okay, but we've been brainwashed. Like I said, we don't see that. Okay. Everybody good? Anybody got any comments or questions before we go?
No, sir, I'm good.
Okay, so we got our evening Shabbat at 6 o'clock, 6 to 7. We cap off everything for the week. So I see everybody at 6. Shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it, because it's a must that you understand who the God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up, and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is, and the Godhead.